Hey, thanks for watching. I am on a short, cold November ride in the awesome Oregon countryside, and I want to stop and give you a quick review on the Oxford heated grips. I've had these installed for several months now, and really all I can tell you right away is just if you need heated grips, just buy these. So these are called the Oxford Heaterz in the US, and I think they're called hot grips if you buy in the UK. There are some slight differences maybe, in color I noticed on the controller, maybe an additional grip style. There's also a different generation. Somehow I think I have the premium model, and there's now I notice an Evo model out. I do not know what that Evo model adds to the mix, but these particular ones are the premium in the adventure style. So they make an adventure grip, they make a sport, they make a touring, they make a cruiser, and a retro. So I picked the adventure grip not because I'm a big adventure rider, just basically because I like the grip pattern. One thing I did not pay attention to was that each style not only has a different grip pattern, but also a different width. So it turns out the adventure grip is the widest, I think, and so I had to cut it down a bit, but that's okay. In fact, it's outlined in their install guide that you may have to cut the grips to fit. I mean, every bike is a little different, right? So I think though, if I had to do it again, I may have gotten like the retro grip, just it may have fit the style of my bike better, and it may have been closer to the right width right out of the box. So I guess I would say figure out which grip style you like and then work from there. You can always deal with the width, which is what I did here. I measured, drew a line, and used some kind of a guide and a razor blade to make as clean a cut as possible all the way around. And if you do that, I recommend trying to get all the way through the rubber with one cut. If you go round and round, bit by bit, it won't be as clean a cut. When you go to glue these on, you may find, like I did, that the right side won't take as much glue as the left. I tried to use a small amount of glue when installing these in case I should want to change these out sometime. They do sell the components separately, like the controller, the grips, the mounting gear, the wiring harness. And so if I ever change bars and end up damaging these grips when I remove them, see, I can buy just the grips and not the whole kit. But I thought, I really want to use as little glue as possible. So the throttle side, you're going to notice it's going to stick with very little glue because you're gluing it onto a plastic throttle tube, so it sticks no problem. But you do want to make sure on that side that you don't push it on too far, or it ends up too close to your electrical housing here, and the throttle won't rotate freely and snap back freely, which would be a problem, right? So you also want to make sure when you mount this, make sure that when you roll back the throttle, it's not going to interfere with your brake lever. The clutch side is sticking to the bar itself, so that may take a little more glue. I had to take mine off and add a bit more glue because I found that after even 24 hours, I found that I could still twist the grip, and that's not good either. You don't want it loose on there. Now, mounting the controller can be a trick because every bike is different with regard to what is already mounted on the bars and what kind of mounting brackets there are. So there's really no way it can be one size fits all. And I recommend just holding that controller in various spots on your bars to see where you might want it. Where is a place that's going to be an easy reach? Where does it not stick out too much? Or where are your cables going to run the cleanest? Then you can find out how to get it to mount in that general area. So I ended up using the mounting bracket that they provide. Some people have ended up using something completely different. But that bracket looks like this, and it has a bend in it. So I couldn't figure out how I was going to use this bent bracket to get this mounted here where I wanted it. So I put it in a vise and straightened it out, and it ended up fitting right here onto the clutch and mirror mount after adding one of the provided longer screws and bushing. Now the piece that I bent would have ended up sticking down and becoming something that might have gotten caught on things, so I cut that off as well. And you can see a slight silver edge there where I made the cut. So I could paint that if I wanted, but it's low enough you don't see it. So fortunately I noticed the hardware that came in my kit, and maybe this is just in the US kits, it was all black. I thought after seeing some reviews and looking at the Oxford website that it was going to be a silver bracket and I was going to have to paint it and maybe buy black screws. But I was really happy to find out that it was already black, and I think it looks great that way. So I ended up with my controller in a spot that works really well for me. I can keep my clutch hand on the bar and just stretch a bit and easily adjust the controller while I'm riding. The buttons on the controller are simply just up and down buttons, and they set the temperature to one of 5 heat positions. And I found the different settings to be super useful depending on, how cold it is, how fast I'm riding, what type of gloves I'm using. So it's nice to have that adjustability for sure. Now you can see that I'm turning this on without having the bike on. And that's because their recommended installation method is to go straight off the battery. And that might scare somebody, but the way they've made this is there's a control unit. Built into the controller unit is a shutoff circuit that senses when your bike is not running. And it'll shut down the unit after about a minute. And this works. I've forgotten to turn it off a couple times, and I've come out later and it has turned it off, and I have not lost enough battery power to leave me stranded. So once you get things installed, you just have to find a good way to route the 3 additional cables that you've added. There's one for each grip for the heater, and there's one for the controller. And these all run into a cable housing that'll run back to the battery. So, do they work? I have to say they work great. They get super warm, almost hot on the highest setting. And I haven't had a problem with them at all. They just work. And I think Oxford has a great product here. And thanks for watching this. I hope it was helpful to you in some way. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe if you're interested in seeing upcoming videos. Take care, ride safe.